Hey, what is going on, guys? So I haven't been making that many videos lately, and that's simply because I've been in the middle of midterms, and they've sucked. They really sucked. I had to do like 4 papers within the span of maybe 2 weeks, and that doesn't sound too bad, but I really made it worse than what it's supposed to be, because I tend to procrastinate. At the end of all of this, I'm just hating myself, like, what the F did I get myself into? It's just this thing where, like, I need to sober up from this daze that I'm in, because I've just got this semester and the next, and I can't screw up. And I'm really worried about my Shakespeare class, because I bombed the first test. I haven't been putting in the work that I'm supposed to be doing, and it's just, I mean, I can make all tons of excuses, like I'm distracted by what's going on in my life, but when it really comes down to it, those are just distractions, and I need to focus. But I think these midterms are just a wake-up call as far as just me trying to do the work. But yeah, it's very sobering when you do you have all this stuff and you procrastinate, and then you're in the middle of everything and everything's piling on top of each other, and you're just realizing, like, wow, I really got myself into this mess. Which is, it's a lesson, because it just makes me realize, like, I can't do that in life as well. So it's a good life lesson. I'm really glad that midterms are over. I can't, like, I feel like this huge burden has been lifted, because just non-stop, like, stuff just piling on top of each other. So I feel like I'm free right now. There is a bright side in that school offers a lot of opportunities. I've been trying to get on the literary journal for my school, which they publish poems, short stories, photography, art, and I've been trying to get into the editing jobs, but they've been having so many scheduling conflicts. So, like, and then after a while, it just, like, dawns on me, like, oh man, like, do they really not? I mean, like, week after week after week, they're like, we got scheduling conflicts. So it's like, oh, do they actually have scheduling conflicts, or do they not want another person on their team? So I guess that's just my insecurities projecting upon that situation. So I just really need to stop that. But yeah, it just sounds like a great opportunity that I want to take advantage of, and it could really help me down the line. Like, I want to be this published author. I want to get into comic books. I want to publish my own, work eventually. But now that these midterms are over, I could actually focus on, school, right? Like, I could focus and get back into shape of, like, what I need to do, and just focus in on my other work, my portfolio, which I really need to take care of, because I'm graduating in May, and I don't want to graduate and have nothing to show for it. Like, I need to have a portfolio ready. So I really needed to focus in on that. Hey, what's going on, guys? It is 24th of October. Things have been going well. It's approximately midway down the line of the semester. It's been pretty crazy actually, as far as like everything that I need to do for school. And it's 8 weeks into the semester, and I think the literary journal committee, they still haven't met at all. Haven't had a meeting at all this semester, just because of scheduling conflicts, which is pretty interesting because I don't know how. I want to be part of that committee, and I don't know how. I'm turning on the. I'm actually turning on the air. It's kind of cold outside. I don't know how we're going to put together a literary journal if we can't get our schedules together. But that we'll cross that road when we get to it. But things have been pretty cool. I mean, I went to I made it out to the Kane County Toy Fair last minute this Sunday, and it was a really fun time. I did get there late. It was about an hour and a half until closing time. And the reason why is the weather was just really, really difficult. I mean, it was raining, and the streets were just, there was a lot of flooding, and I was driving all the way from the city to St. Charles, Illinois, and if you're probably not familiar with that distance, but I'd say it's a good maybe 35 miles, 40 miles away from my house. So, and it was also like crappy weather, as I was saying, so it really came down to like last minute, like, do I want to go? Should I go? Should I just stay home? Because I really wanted to. Originally, I had planned for one of my friends to come with me, but unfortunately, he had to work. He had to work the graveyard shift, and he had to stay over, and so he had to get some sleep, of course. So that also put a dampened my plans a little bit. But what, I wanted to go. I definitely wanted to go, and I think I was just making excuses to not go because of the rain. Like, I tend to do that. Like, when it's crappy weather, like, I tend to make excuses for myself to not do anything and just to be really lazy. So I went, and it was a really amazing time. I think they did. It wasn't as big, like the the convention wasn't as big as it was in the past. I think especially due to the weather. So it was really condensed to 2 buildings. And also, like, I'll probably I'll put a link up, because I didn't take any footage this time because it was raining so bad that I didn't want my phone to get all drenched in the rain. But I'll put a link up to the last Kane County Toy Fair that I went to. Really amazing time. Always an amazing time. It's just all the vintage toys that you could think of, all the stuff that from my childhood, even a lot of multi-generational toys, like toys from the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, even the 90s, some stuff from the early 2000s, and so I really got a lot of stuff for my classic TMNT collection, that I will probably show later on in the video. But I think that's what I really like. It's just like, I mean, I do like newer stuff too, but I think the older toys really hold a big place in my heart as far as like, it's being a nostalgic thing that I can reflect on and say, hey, I didn't have this when I was a kid. Now I can have it, you know. And now it's cheaper than from what I bought when I bought it, you know, or when it was available to me. Maybe, I don't know. Actually, it might have been much cheaper back then. I remember the prices been like $5.99 for a Ninja Turtle, and I think for the longest time when I was a kid, we couldn't afford that, just because we didn't have any extra income for stuff like that, for like toys and stuff. So I remember, and I'm going off on a tangent, but like I remember that I couldn't afford stuff like that, so I would make my own toys before I would do that. And what I would do is I would make clippings out of characters in the newspaper, or if I saw them, you know, in an illustration of a Ninja Turtle. And what I would do is I would take that piece of paper, and then I would, or that news clipping, or whatever illustration that would be, cut that out, paste that on top of a construction paper or a cardboard, so it would have like a much more firm base and background, and then I would make a base for that, so the base would also be either a cardboard piece or a construction paper piece, and I would make little standees for my own toys. And those were my toys before we could afford toys. And yeah, that was pretty cool, actually. Like, I wish I kept some of those. I actually used to keep a lot of I'm a big fan of Dick Tracy and the Phantom, and Garfield and Dilbert. So I used to cut out a lot of those clippings, and then I used to make my own. I used to rearrange them in like ways that I could only create my own stories, and I would make my own comic books with these certain clippings of Dick Tracy and the Phantom. And sometimes I would rearrange them to make my whole like different universe. It was, you know, maybe someday I'll make a video of how that method took place, and maybe it'll probably be a cool video. But yeah, I'm gonna get some lunch now. This is the time in between my Shakespeare class and my creative writing elements of style class, which is basically a grammar class. Yeah, and I'm gonna get some grub, and then I don't know, maybe I'll shoot again later today. I don't know, but yeah, see you guys next clip.
Captain's gotta teach stuff.